Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching yet another episode of Lima Shenanigans of 1977. It's Friday night, and you know what that means. It's time for the AEW Rampage Event Center Report. And now here's a man who's always been running on a rampage here on YouTube, Mr. Eric M. Lima. Thank you very much, Mr. Announcer. Sir, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977, episode 1342. This time around, we're going to talk about what happened at AEW Rampage. I know there's some AEW fans out there still. Even that footage, even that footage of what happened between CM Punk and Jack Perry have been revealed. Now, a lot of people, obviously the major consensus is that it's a big mistake on AEW's part for doing it. And some people were already in AEW already upset about that. There's a lot of people out there, even Tony Schiavone and Renee Paquette. You see the reactions, and it's like, and then it makes matters worse. You get Will Ospreay taking digs at Triple H. Listen, I've always respected the talent. I watch these wrestling organizations, whether it be WWE or AEW, for the talent not for behind the scenes antics of people like that. Like I said, I'm a fan of, I'm a fan of wrestling, professional wrestling. Love watching it. Been watching it since full time since '98 during the Attitude Era. I watched bits and pieces of wrestling since the '80s and the early '90s and whatnot and everything else, and got into it, talking to friends and I've been wrestling fans and all for a long time. And I'm still going to watch AEW. I'm still going to watch all these events, and even if I'm live streaming with somebody else, I'll still watch, and I always write them down, and I react afterwards, and I'll talk about that's all. I'm still going to watch AEW for sure. I know I get picked on by Jordan because I'm simping after Tony Storm, Harley Cameron, Hikaru Shida, now Mina Shirakawa. Well, that's what. I'm still going to watch AEW. And those are my, they're my favorite reasons why I've been watching AEW for sure. So, and the competition is really fierce, but the AEW needs to be freaking careful, because if they don't come back from this, or they don't try to make a comeback or do something big, and if I were them, I would put their pettiness towards the WWE aside, talent and executives, so to speak. I would put their pettiness aside with the WWE and work with them, because that could bring in a lot of seats. Working with the WWE could bring in a lot of seats. WWE has been, some people from TKO and Endeavor, they're trying to look for the WWE to work with other organizations as well. And I'm hoping they can do that with AEW, because that thing, the WWE is probably willing to do business with them. They say, hey, we can help you get tickets. We can help you guys get better. And I think that's going to, that could benefit AEW. If AEW was smart enough, instead of taking pot shots at the WWE, I suggest that and say, hey, there's a new era in the WWE. Vince is no longer there. Let's talk to Triple H. Let's talk to The Rock. Let's talk to people. Set them down. Let's have a meeting. Let's see if we can make this thing work. But no, they want to do pot shots like, against CM Punk and all, and Triple H. Come on, guys. Come on, do better, huh, AEW? Come on. Tony Khan, you got to stop acting like a fan. You're a boss now. You're in charge of the company. You bought this company with your father's money. Get things done, man. Get things done. Elevate the women in the women's division, please. All right? The women need that. Because I'm sure most of them will probably go back. Does Mercedes Moné and Adam Copeland kind of regret going to AEW? I don't know. I can't read their minds. Can't do anything about that. But, however, though, there's some of my favorite guys. There's some of my favorite folks in AEW. Young Bucks is not one of them, obviously. Even though Kazuchika Okada, like him, he's cool. Eddie Kingston's another guy I respect. And Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy is one of the coolest guys ever. He just sits there. And just, he's a character like, yeah, whatever, dude. Cool. I like Orange Cassidy. He's good. And he went one-on-one with Dark Order's Alex Reynolds, who has another favorite of AEW's guys at ringside, Johnny Hungy himself, John Silver. I know Queen Lauren was a loyal. She likes listening. She likes watching. Fan of the Bofas and our Rant and Rave podcast, is good friends with John Silver. So Johnny Hungy, the Meat Man. Always been a fan of him. He's a funny dude. If you watch his stuff on YouTube, especially when he was hanging out with the Dark Order during the Being the Elite and all that, just watching him and make a fool of himself was my fun part because he always makes me laugh. Always has a smile on his face. He goes, Johnny Hungy, Meat Man. He does an impression of Brody Lee. God rest his soul, Brody Lee's soul. But John Silver, hilarious dude that he is. And so Orange Cassidy went one-on-one with Alex Reynolds. John Silver tries to get involved during the matchup, but he didn't get ejected, but in the end, it kind of backfired. Orange Cassidy ends up winning the matchup, though. Renee Paquette decided to interview Orange Cassidy about what happened when Trent Beretta turned, and then Trent Beretta came out and was wearing the shirt that Sue wore on her jacket. But then I think he was about to attack Orange Cassidy again, but then Chuck Taylor kind of cut him off. So I think Chuck Taylor, we don't know where he's standing. I thought Chuck Taylor was going to attack Orange Cassidy. But you know what, though? I have to admit something here. When you watch Chuck Taylor's stuff in Chikara, he makes a heck of a heel. And he was very entertaining and funny as a heel. If he can go back to that, I think him and Trent Beretta, they could change the best friend's name, but still, I think they could be a reliable team and help out on AEW in the future. Seriously. If AEW needs to stand strong, that's how it is. So Alex Marvez interviewed Anna Jay, who was frustrated losing to Mariah May, and then Mina Shirakawa gets involved, Tony Storm, and everything else. But then Azumi, a.k.a. AZM from Stardom, says, listen, Mariah May is stupid. Mina Shirakawa is stupid. You know who's the stupidest of all? Tony Storm. And she goes, Tony Storm does that, and Anna Jay does the same thing. It's like Anna Jay and AZM are going to be joining forces with Stardom working with AEW. Now, I'm hoping that AEW stands strong during this time. The women's division could be elevated if Stardom gets involved. That's my personal opinion. But I'll tell you what, it'll be a lot of fun. Open house matchup for the TBS title. Julia Hart took on legit Layla Hirsch. Heck of a matchup, until Layla Hirsch did a face plant, probably hurt her nose. But Julia Hart ended up winning the matchup anyways. Then the Don Callis family was addressing Bryan Danielson, and he was a little upset that Bryan Danielson wants Will Ospreay to fight clean, and he says, I want you to hurt. He asked, because tomorrow night on Collision, they're going one-on-one in a tag team match against Blackpool Combat Club's Claudio Castagnoli and Bryan Danielson, and Don Callis giving them orders to hurt Bryan Danielson. Then a Cool Hand Angelo Parker, Sans Ruby Soho, went one-on-one with Zach Knight. And Zach Knight had his sister Saraya with him, and along with the lovely, gorgeous, angelic Aussie herself, Harley Cameron. Yes, I love Harley Cameron. Not only she's beautiful, but she's funny and talented, and she sings. I love Harley Cameron. But then I think Angelo Parker had Knight pinned a couple of occasions, and then both girls got involved. And the referee, Rick Knox, goes, okay, that's it. You girls out of here. Eject them. So they were both ejected, but distracted the referee and distracted Angelo Parker long enough. Zach Knight took advantage, ends up pinning Cool Hand Angelo Parker after busting him open. And then the girls came back out to celebrate. Maybe Cool Hand Angelo Parker needs to be rethink his priorities. Now, if Ruby Soho is no longer on AEW television, is she thinking about coming back to the WWE? That could be something. That if the AEW did the footage and all, could Ruby Soho maybe thinking, maybe the WWE's been a whole lot better. I think I'm considering going back there. If that's the case, can she reform the Riot Squad? Because, if Valhalla can go back to being Sarah Logan, will we see a new and improved Riot Squad? Who knows for sure? But one thing's for sure, however, Angelo Parker may be rethinking his strategy against Zach Knight. Alex Marvez interviewed Kyle O'Reilly as he and Rocky Romero, and Kyle O'Reilly said, hey, listen, you beat Roderick Strong, I'll think about challenging you for the title. He says, well, we'll think about that down the road. Then the Undisputed Kingdom interrupts O'Reilly. He goes, and they were talking about, listen, hey, I want to be a champion. You can't be the international champion. If you're going to do things on your own, you better do it without involving me. And they walk away. And then the final matchup, Matt Sydal went one-on-one with Jay White, and Jay White ended up winning the match. So, tomorrow, AEW Collision and Battle of the Belts 10 will be on. I'm going to try to watch that a little bit, and hopefully, and I'm very disappointed in the Red Sox. They lost to the Angels. Time to get it together, Boston. Time to get it together. Don't weep over losing Romy Gonzalez, losing Trevor Story. You got to get it together, folks. And possibly losing Rafael Devers. You got to get it together, folks. You got to get it together. That's all I got to say about that. So that's it for AEW Rampage Event Center for April the 12th, 2024. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Tomorrow we got Car Sharks, Shark and Suit Saturdays, and AEW Collision Battle of the Belts 10. That's all the time we have on the show. I will see you on the next episode. And until the next episode comes rolling around, Mr. Announcer, please take us home. That is all for today's episode. This is your announcer speaking for Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. A Big Beefy E, do it for Bob Saget Productions, and in association with a Raven Beaufort Telepictures and Distribution. Thank you for watching today's episode. Tune in next time for another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. Goodbye for now.